Welcome back to my woodworking channel here, a woodworking journey. Today we are going to be talking about what you need to succeed with your woodworking business. And that essential thing that you need is a plan. This is whether you're starting out or just looking to get into a business or grow your existing business in woodworking. You always need a plan. The plan either can be goals, such as meeting certain sales for that month or week or year, or making enough money to buy a certain piece of equipment in your shop, such as a joiner or planer or a domino jig or something like that. And then your plan can be literally physical plans for your items that you're building, such as your furniture or cutting boards and stuff. The biggest reason you want to focus on making a plan is because this keeps you accountable and motivated, but it also I know at first when I started my business, I was just kind of threw stuff together and hoped that it worked. This resulted in a lot of projects failing, actually. Probably when I first started, about 30% of my projects failed. I didn't really have much custom orders at the time. I would just try to do any sort of thing, like just try to make something work, but I didn't have any paper plans, any dimensions, stuff like that. Like, I knew the dimensions and I kind of knew the size I needed to make each cut, but yeah, it resulted in me running out of materials, having to go into different supplies and stuff like that to get projects done, and in the end they didn't even work, which then, yeah. And when I should have made it a little bit smaller so that I would have had enough materials. Again, this was just to sell. It wasn't necessarily a custom order, so I didn't really need all these materials sort of things. But it happens, right? You live and you learn. So I should have really tried to plan more. I did have goals. That was one thing I had, but slowly as my business did go on, I didn't necessarily always write my goals all the time, and that did result in some slow points in my business where it kind of died down, and then I'd kind of pick it back up, But that's kind of how business works sometimes. But to prevent that, you plan so you're motivated. Also, if planning just helps you also with what tools you need and stuff like that for potential customers. This is a big thing. When you're starting a business, know what you can handle too. Don't always go out there and accept every order you can, because you don't necessarily have the tools or the knowledge to do that. This was a big thing that I didn't do very often, or this is a thing that I actually did during when I first started my business in my first year. I first just came up with a couple side tables, quick and easy. Like, I did have a couple failed attempts, but I did get it on my second try for these side tables. Put them up, lots of interest, sold them. But then I had about three to five people ask me for custom order sets, but these were big order sets. And even dining tables. At this point, if I look back at it, I maybe should have tried one or two, but I actually declined them all. This was because I just didn't have enough confidence at that time to do all these custom orders. I actually did do one or custom order. I think two little side tables, and that had a shelf in it, and it was a little bit trickier build. Like I had to get a little bit of hands with it just because it required some biscuit joining and stuff like that, but it wasn't nearly as complicated as the others. These other tables like were way out of my league. Uh, like it was really going to be quite a challenge for me, and I probably would have messed up, and then I would have had to tell the customers, yeah, I couldn't do it. And then sometimes if you just decline them and say, I'm kind of busy right now, I don't think I can do it right now. Sometimes that's better than taking on the project and you are kind of already busy and you fail the project and then you kind of have a bad name for yourself. Like that. I know you kind of get a bad name when you're busy, but um, it's even worse if you have a serious mess up. And then plus, then at that time too, I didn't have any of the supplies worked out, what I needed, anything like that. And uh, too, the big thing for me is I gotta wait for this wood to dry because I cut it all myself, right? So I gotta wait for the stuff to dry. So that can take about 6 months at least for this wood to dry. So I always got to be ahead of the game. Um, because if I run out of wood all of a sudden, that's a big problem. And this is all poplar stuff that I promise people because that's what I do. And then you run out. That's why you got to plan. Buy orders before or just don't take on these big things. But yeah, this planning will ultimately just help you grow your business and make sure you're on track. And your plans can always be flexible, but it gives you general plans are the best. So yeah, the top essential thing for success in a woodworking business is planning. Make sure you have goals. Make sure you anticipate challenges. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and check out more videos.